Unit 1 we called the fundamentals of geometry because there was a lot of key geometry like vocab, geometry ideas, and theorems that we learned. So what I did was split it up into 10 different topics. So the first topic that we're going to look at is just vocab and how did we solve some problems using these vocab words. So I picked the most commonly used vocab words and we're just going to go through them and then we'll look at some examples. So first thing is the word bisect. Bisect you've seen a lot. It just means to cut in half or you intersect so that you get two congruent parts. Perpendicular, so really this should be perpendicular lines. Whenever you have perpendicular lines, those form right angles. So a picture for that would be two lines that form and create 90-degree angles. A linear pair is going to be a pair of angles that form a straight line. So these are angles that form a line. So a picture for this would be if I had a line and then I have these two angles here, angles 1 and 2 are forming a straight line. So angles 1 and 2 are supplementary, they add to 180 degrees. The thing with linear pair is the two angles have to be adjacent, so the angles have to be touching each other next to each other. So linear pair really kind of goes hand in hand with supplementary. Supplementary just means angles that add to 180 degrees, so angles that add to 180 degrees. And the difference between the two is that linear pair, again, the angles have to be adjacent, so they have to be touching each other. Where supplementary, it can just be any two angles that add to 180. And remember, a way to remember supplementary is if you draw the line through the S, it looks like an 8, so that's the 180. Where complementary, this is when angles add to 90 degrees. So angles that add to 90. And again, the angles don't have to be touching each other. They just have to add to 90 to be complementary. So we can draw the line through the C and it looks like a 9. So that's how we remember, or a strategy that we use to help us remember that they add to 90. And then the last type of angles that we talked about are vertical angles. So these are formed by intersecting lines. And they're always congruent. So formed by intersecting lines and always congruent. So for a picture, it's when you have like the X or two intersecting lines, the angles across from each other are the congruent angles. So angles 1 and 2, as well as if I call this angle 3 and this angle 4, those would be congruent. So to use these vocab words and some examples, if we're looking at this first example, we're given that AB is perpendicular to DB. So AB is perpendicular to DB, which means there's a right angle there. And again, remember, you can extend that right angle into the other side because these two angles are supplementary. So if one of them is 90, the other one has to be 90. And then this part here says that we have angle EBC. So EBC is 3 times angle EBD. EBD, I'm going to call X because I don't know what that is. So that makes this angle 3 times X. So since I'm calling that X, this one's 3X. We want to find the measure of angle EBD, which really means find X. So we have to think of what relationship do we know about these two angles. And the relationship that we know is that they have to add up to 90 degrees because they form a right angle. So I can go ahead and set the two, add them up, set them equal to 90, and then just solve for X. So combine like terms, divide everything by 4. So we get X equals 22.5. So to make sure that you actually answer the question, go back and read to make sure that you don't have to plug back in. So if you look, it says find EBD, which is actually X. So I don't have to plug back in. So it's just 22.5 degrees. So there's your answer. So let's look at the next example. We have lines A, B, and CD intersect at a point E. So I'm going to go ahead and just sketch a picture. If there isn't a diagram, make sure you always get in the habit of drawing a diagram. It really helps if you can visually see what's happening. So I start with any two lines, they're intersecting at E. And then I'm going to go ahead and label. So AEC is 10x minus 40. And BED is 8x plus 20. I want to find x. So again, you're looking for what relationship? Well, these two angles are vertical angles, so they have to be congruent. So I can set them equal. So 10x minus 40 equals 8x plus 20. And then we're going to go ahead and solve it. So subtract 8x from both sides. So we get 2x minus 40 equals 20. Add 40. So 2x equals 60. Divide by 2. X equals 30. And then again, make sure you answer the question. Well, we did find the value of x. So that's it. The last example here is to find x. So again, you're looking for what relationship do you have. So in this case, we have all of these angles are around a single point. So these are called angles around a point. Those have to add up to 360. If you look, there's 360 degrees here because they all completely go around this point. So you just set up an equation. So add up every single part. So 85 plus 2x plus 35 plus x equals 360, and then we just have to solve it for x. So combine like terms, so 85 plus 35 is going to give me 120 plus 3x, 2x plus x gave me 3x, equals 360. Subtract 120 from both sides. So 3x equals 240. Divide by 3, we get x equals 80, and then that's it. So we looked at 3 different relationships, one with perpendicular lines, one with vertical angles, and another with angles around a point. So all of our equations we set up differently to go along with whatever the relationship was.